got the money?
Yeah. I got the money. You got the stuff?
Yeah, I got the stuff.
Here's your cash.
1,500 in small bills as promised.
1,500 in small bills as promised. It's all there.
Right.
Right. Don't want to break anything.
No, you don't want to break anything.
Oh, not good. Not good.
Pretty ugly sight.
It is. What do you think happened to him?
Well, here's the way I see it. We have a handgun shell and a shotgun shell, and the shotgun's still here. I would have to say there's definitely 2 shots fired, obviously. So if this guy's dead and there's nobody else, I gotta say the guy with the shotgun tried to shoot at the other guy, except he was too slow and he got whacked first, and here we all are.
That's good.
Because this shell,
Oh, gun.
yep, that's what I have to say would happen. Now we have to run it by the ballistics lab to test that out, but as far as it goes now, that's my verdict.
Yeah. Sounds.
You see, it turns out my hunch about the weapon found at the crime scene was correct. Now, we found this shotgun and this shell at the crime scene. Now, among ballistics, as with any kind of evidence, there's class evidence and there's individual evidence. Now, this being a 2 3/4 inch Remington shotgun shell would prove that it's class evidence because while it does narrow it down somewhat, there are millions of identical shotgun shells in the world, so it's not incriminating in and of itself. However, the breech of the gun leaves marks on the back of the shell as it leaves the ejector. On this gun, the shell exits here, but not before the steel ejector hits the soft brass on the end of the shotgun shell, leaving specific marks. Now, under a microscope, these marks can be compared to other shotgun shells and give us definitive proof which gun a shell came from. In this case, it proves that this gun was fired at the scene of the crime, probably in self-defense, although of course we know the self-defense was not successful. In the case of the shotgun found at the crime scene, you remember we used case markings from the breech of the gun to prove that the shell came out of this gun and that it was fired at the scene of the crime. Now, the reason we use breech markings with the shotgun is because the barrel of the shotgun is smooth and the pellets coming out contacted at random like water coming out of a hose, and there's no way to match the projectile to the firearm. However, with a rifled barrel such as a rifle or a pistol, it is a different story. In such a gun, a bullet such as this is used, and the bullet contacts the entire inside surface of the barrel, which has unique rifling marks on it as shown here. Now, these produce corresponding grooves in the bullet as it leaves the gun, known as striations, as seen here. Now, in the flight of any projectile, there are 4 stages: internal ballistics, which is while it's still in the barrel of the gun; transition ballistics, which is while it is leaving the barrel of the gun; external ballistics, while it's flying through the air; and terminal ballistics, while it is hitting the target. Now, in this case, matching the rifling of a bullet to the gun it was fired from is an example of internal ballistics because the barrel is leaving marks on the bullet while it's still inside. Using these specific striations, we can tell which bullet came from which barrel as long as we have both the gun and the bullet to match them to. This technique of matching individual bullets to the gun they were fired from dates back to 1835 when English policeman Henry Goddard compared the bullet found at a crime scene to a mold used to make the bullet belonging to a suspect. And when certain marks on the molds turned out to match the bullet, the English criminal was incriminated by this evidence, and he was arrested. A short while ago, we received an eyewitness report that a 1964 Oldsmobile 98 coupe was seen leaving the scene of the crime after gunshots were heard last week near the train tracks. Now, another report we got in even more recently says that this car was seen returning to the crime scene earlier today. So I'm going to go out there and check it out.
Alright, hands on the steering wheel, don't move. You're under arrest for first-degree murder and criminal possession of a firearm. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't...
In this case, we were able to match the unique rifling marks inside the barrel to the striations on the bullet found in the victim, and we found that the gun discovered on the person of our suspect was in fact the gun that fired the fatal shot that killed our victim. So you've been sentenced to 800 years in federal prison. How do you feel about such a sentence?
Oh, it's not a problem. With good behavior, I could easily just cut that in half.
I see. And do you have any regrets about choosing a life of crime?
No, I think that crime definitely pays. It's a great job. The hours are great pay. You're your own boss. You can't go wrong there. You get to travel around a lot, meet some interesting people. It definitely pays.
Someday I'll have me a chauffeur and a block-long limousine, EO11, EO11. Someday I'll have me a penthouse, stacks and stacks of Bowling Green, EO11, EO11. It's all a state of mind, whether or not you find that place down